What's up, guys? You're not going to believe just how much DeMar DeRozan has been through in his life. DeMar DeRozan has one of the more impressive inspirational stories regarding his rise to fame. The star guard has suffered through a lot to get to the point where he is now. However, a lot of people don't really know what it took for him to turn into the player he is. So in this video, we're going to be talking about what really happened to DeRozan and figure out why he is who he is. It all started back when he was just 11 years old. DeMar was an impressive talent with an excellent ability to attack the rim. Throughout the next couple of years, he was ranked top 5 in the nation while attending Compton High School. He had a very rough childhood though. Sadly, DeMar grew up in a very hostile environment and had to deal with multiple family members being shot near his own house. Thankfully, a lot of the people in the area got together and made it their job to protect DeMar and the rest of his family. They also urged him to get better and better at hoops and were proud to have him in their community. DeMar did just that. He stomped on practically every opponent that came his way throughout high school, and he was a very popular name going into college. When deciding what school to attend, he shocked the world by choosing USC over other places like Arizona State or North Carolina. But his college years were very successful for him. He really didn't have any sort of jump shot at the time, and yet was still able to come away with the Pac-10 MVP award due to his leadership and explosiveness. DeMar continued to work on his mid-range shot more than anything, but when he threw his name into the NBA draft pool, he still wasn't considered a very strong shooter in any area of the floor. But that didn't stop the Toronto Raptors from drafting him number 9 overall. DeRozan was considered a below-average player in his first few years in the NBA. Not having much of a jump shot and being a liability defensively was not a good combination when trying to etch out a solid role on a new team. Nevertheless, DeMar used it as motivation to keep hitting the gym and getting better. And suddenly, DeMar started exploding onto the scene.
Round pick for Trevor Booker up top. With the left hand!
His shooting took a dramatic turn for the better, and he was knocking down fadeaways, mid-range shots, turnarounds, all with relative ease on almost every possession. He started to post ridiculous scoring numbers with high efficiency, and at the same time, his defense started to improve too. The Raptors realized what they had in DeMar and started to build around him.
Take on the Houston Rockets. DeRozan operating in the paint, sidestep, left and the foul!
That was exactly the time when this team really started to come alive again. It'd been an interesting middle ground with Chris Bosh and Vince Carter not in their primes anymore, so the franchise really needed somebody to take that lead role again. And DeMar started leading them to number 1 seeds and deep playoff runs year after year.
Kalame and Dwayne Casey saying get into the action. Here's DeRozan on the inside, put back, good!
However, the team was never able to win a championship or make the NBA Finals with him due to the dominance of LeBron James. James consistently led the Cleveland Cavaliers past the Raptors, with some even calling the city LeBronto because of it. After a certain point, Toronto knew that they needed to make a change. So they rolled the dice on a blockbuster trade, sending DeRozan over to the San Antonio Spurs in exchange for Kawhi Leonard, with a few other pieces sprinkled on top. Leonard was on an expiring contract, which made everybody upset at first. It really looked like the organization was just flipping on a player who did so much for the city and the franchise. In that first year with the Raptors, though, Leonard led them to an NBA championship before leaving for the Los Angeles Clippers. DeRozan, on the other hand, didn't have the same kind of luck. The Spurs didn't treat him poorly by any means, it was just a weird fit at the beginning. Spurs head coach Greg Popovich did something outside the box by placing DeMar at the starting point guard position, a spot he'd never really played in his whole career.
DeRozan the other way, almost without the ball, and then he stuffs it!
The change was really different for him, and instead of just going out and trying to score, he was thrust into a role that needed him to distribute the rock and spread it out to his teammates. He quickly grew as a playmaker, and before you knew it, he looked like an entirely different player and was way more efficient as well.
Oh, Baba, DeMar DeRozan! That is attacking the rim!
But after a short time, the Spurs came to the conclusion that DeRozan just wasn't a long-term answer for them, and they wanted to head into a rebuild. So DeMar went into free agency, and that's when he decided to sign with the Chicago Bulls. His now teammate Zach LaVine took the long drive to instantly work out with him when he heard the news, and he said that there was an instant connection between the two. The Bulls head coach Billy Donovan then flew out to meet with both of them to see how they could coexist on the same team.
Blocked by Iodo Sumu, and the loose ball to DeRozan. Leaves it for Zach LaVine with the flush.
The move to Chicago has helped him out tremendously. He's having something that almost every player dreams of having after being in the league for so long, and that's a late career renaissance.
Nice lead pass for Caruso, back to DeRozan!
Now, if you want to have the type of season that DeMar is having, you might take the time to smash that subscribe button before we get back to the video. Seriously guys, click it right now. What are you waiting for? Anyways, let's jump right back into it. Once DeRozan signed with the Bulls, he started to open up a lot about the last few years with the Spurs. He said that he would continuously fly up to Los Angeles to sit with his father, who was dealing with several long-term illnesses. His dad had spent years in and out of the hospital around that time and unfortunately passed away towards the beginning of 2021. DeRozan admitted that he had nights when he wondered when his life would go back to being peaceful again. When his father passed away, he decided to get a portrait tattooed on his shoulder of his dad. Somebody close to him was asked about the mental toll that DeMar has been hit with lately, and he said he had to deal with himself. A lot of that stuff he holds within. I think now he's opening up more, and that's just part of the healing process. I'm just glad Chicago softened the weight on him and gave him the opportunity.
It's gonna come. The good days gonna come, the bad days gonna come, so once you understand that, you'll realize nothing is too surprising. It's just a matter of how you handle it in that moment.
Since the season started, DeMar has been lights out. He ranks 7th in the league in points scored per game with 26.5 right now. He also functions as their leader when the game starts to come down to the wire. The full weight of the offense gets thrown onto his shoulders in the fourth quarter as he holds the ball for an average of 6.9 seconds during clutch time possessions. That number accounts for the 5th longest in the league this season, behind players like Chris Paul, Trae Young, and Ja Morant.
Listen, watching Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan is one of the better coaches.
Clutch time is when the score is within 5 points in the last 5 minutes of the game. And in that span, DeMar averages 4 points on 57% shooting. The only player in the last 25 years to post those same averages in that stretch of time is LeBron James. Because of his clutch shooting, DeMar has scored the 3rd most clutch baskets in the league at 72 and the 2nd most points in the fourth quarter overall at 262.
And they were 4-25 early.
DeRozan for 3.
Oh, DeMarvelous!
The scary thing is, he isn't just playing well in the final frame of action, his whole game has taken a step forward. His mid-range shooting is up to a career-high 48% this season. Plus, his three-point shooting is taking a massive step forward too. He's never been known as a deep shooter, yet he's hitting on 35.7% of his shots right now from behind the arc. This entire team has bought into him being the leader of their group, and he's proved that he's an entirely different player this whole season so far. DeMar DeRozan has gone through a lot to get to this point, but man, it's impressive how he's gotten there. Let's hope that he continues to grow as a player and help Chicago go deep into the playoffs. And that officially does it for this video on what happened to DeMar DeRozan and how he's been able to have a career year. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to click on either of the 2 videos that appear on your screen now.